There's no evidence whatsoever it should be illegal. That's the most important thing. It's not the evidence of whether it should be legal. That's like, you know, the whole thing about you're innocent until proven guilty. It should be the same way about marijuana. It should be that you can't just make it illegal and say it has to remain illegal because we don't know what it can do. Because you do know what it can do. Yeah. You do. You definitely know. Why do you think millions of people like it? Are they all crazy? What's going on? All these millions and millions of adults that live in America, are they fucking crazy? So what are you saying? You're saying you're smarter than them? Why don't you talk about it with somebody that knows what the fuck they're talking about? You'll get buried. Talk about it with a person who's like, talk about it with like Todd McCormick. You remember Todd McCormick having a debate with one of these DEA guys about whether or not marijuana is beneficial? He survived cancer because of it. A lot of people have. We have friends that have kids that have autism. They give their fucking kids this medical cannabis and all of a sudden they can talk, they relax, they stop having seizures. It's a massive benefit to a lot of people. It relaxes people, makes people feel good. And we have a government agency in 2016 that ignores all of that and wants to keep it in a category of some of the most harmful and dangerous drugs. These people are like living in an episode of Hawaii Five-0. They're living in the past. They're like 1950s people. And what they think they can do is like keep this bureaucracy and this paperwork and these classifications in movement, and they can head off freedom. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to stop freedom. And one of the reasons why they're trying to stop freedom is because they benefit from it. They benefit from stopping it. They have more agents. If all of a sudden most drugs are legal, what are those fucking thousands of DEA agents going to do? They're protecting their own industry. This is a natural thing that any organism does when it's threatened. And if you start making drugs legal and you start opening up that conversation, like, who the fuck is any one adult to tell any other adult what's good or bad for you? When a lot of shit we do, whether it's the food we eat, the alcohol we drink, the cigarettes we smoke, the fucking sugar in our diet, all these things are bad for us. We all know that. But we're free. Is the government going to come in with fucking machine guns and stop you from eating a chocolate cake and smoking a cigarette? Fuck that, right? I think we all agree on that. If they can't do that, they shouldn't be able to stop you from smoking weed. This is archaic. This is some ancient fucking vampire shit. And they're clinging to civilization. They're totally irrelevant. Totally irrelevant. Your decision should be made 100% on the facts that are available today. You can go. You could research all the facts about marijuana. You find a few that make correlations between some sort of mental illnesses, but those most of the time, at least according to experts that I've listened to talk about it, the correlations of schizophrenia to marijuana use are directly in proportionate with the numbers of schizophrenia for any given population. That there's always going to be around 1% of the population that suffers from some type of schizophrenia or severe mental distraction, illness, you know, a bunch of different categories of these little various mental diseases. But it's always that number. So if they smoked pot, it's just 1,000 people, you know, that smoked pot have schizophrenia. Okay. If there was the same amount of people and they didn't smoke pot, it might be the same amount of schizophrenics. They might not even be connected. But when you're talking about 300 million people and you say 30,000 people got schizophrenia from marijuana, are you fucking sure? Are you really fucking sure? Or is it just 30,000 people have schizophrenia and they also smoke marijuana? So this is a real problem with the way they present the data, because it's just like you coming up to me or to Jamie and you saying that you've got new rules. You as a 42-year-old grown-ass man, you have new rules, and you don't want us drinking alcohol anymore. You're gonna come in and you've hired guards to keep us from smoking alcohol or drinking alcohol. It's the same thing. If it's 50,000 people with some big building with 3 letters in the front of it, or whether it's one crazy fuck who wants to stop his neighbor from smoking pot, it's the same thing. You're trying to stop someone from doing something that's not bad. Like, you can't do that. You don't have any evidence that it's bad. There should be a fuckload of evidence that it's bad. And it should be as much or worse than all the shit that you know is bad that you sell open and make money from taxes.
Alcohol,
which we both love.
I love, but here's a great example.
God damn, I talk a lot.
They just researched.